young woman brought her fiance home to meet her parents. Her mother wasn't home, but her father was waiting in the living room, and after they sat down, he said to his daughter's fiance, "What do you do for a living?" And he said, "I'm a Yeshiva student." Father said, "That's great, and what do you plan to do in the future in terms of making a living?" And the young man said, "God will provide." And the father said, "Oh, I'm sure, but if you're married, you got to put food on the table for you and your wife. How do you plan to do that?" And the young man said, "I'm not worried about that. God will provide." And father said, "Okay, but I assume you're going to have children someday, and you need to feed and clothe them and send them to school. What do you think about that?" And the young man said, "I don't even think about it. God will provide." And so the father said, "Okay, so children tend to grow up, and eventually they're going to want to go to college, and college tuition is so expensive these days." And the young man said, "Not to worry, God will provide." So they chatted a little bit longer, and finally the young man and his fiancée left, and the man's wife came home, and she said, "So was our daughter's fiancé here today?" And man said, "Yeah, we had an interesting conversation," and his wife said, "Well, what do you think of him?" Man said, "Well, I've got mixed feelings. To sum it up, I've got some good news and some bad news." His wife said, "Well, it's been a long day. Give me the bad news first. Get it over with." So the man said, "Well, the bad news is, it sounds like he plans to be a Yeshiva student all his life and sit around and study, and not only does our dog gonna have to put up with him all day long, but he's not going to be earning any money, so I don't know exactly what they're going to survive on. Not to mention children." And his wife said, "Oh boy, it sounds pretty bad. Well, anyway, what's good news?" And the man said, "Well, the good news is he thinks I'm God."